what is the difference between Chinese boxing and what we see these young men doing at 8 o'clock every morning on the rooftops in the parks called shadow boxing, which they're always...
Well, actually, that's good. I'm very glad to see that, because at least somebody is caring for their own body, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a good sign. Well, it's a kind of a slow form of exercise, which is called Tai Chi Chuan. I'm speaking Mandarin just now.
Yeah.
Cantonese, Tai Chi Kun, okay?
I see.
And
show me, can you do a little bit of it? Just so
the hand-wise is very slow.
Oh, is it?
And you push it out, but all the time you are keeping the continuity going. Bending, stretching, everything. You just keep it moving.
It's like a ballet dancer there.
Yeah, it is. I mean, to them, you see, the idea is running water never grows stale. So you got to just keep on flowing.
I feel like, when he was teaching Tai Chi in New York, I think he was teaching more than just Tai Chi as a martial art. I think he was teaching Tai Chi as a way of life.
Well, the Western thing is, it's always man over nature, man against nature, as if man is not a part of nature. Professor Chen was teaching the Westerners simply because the West really needs it. And he could see that so much extreme in the super activity, and everybody was stressed out.
元气的时候，这回气的很会气，很会气。这也是他帮我生气，所以太极拳原来是上不得。
I'm not sure why he came to live here, or why he thought he came to live here. As far as I'm concerned, he came here to teach me. He came here to teach all the people he taught and to spread Tai Chi around the world.
Well, one of the things that made him unique was that he was a poet, a painter, a calligrapher, a physician, and a martial artist, And there are people that are in one field have come to that kind of a understanding, but he could do it with everything that he did.
He was probably the most accomplished person that ever came to the United States to transmit the Chinese culture.
I have a feeling to describe his background as conservative is not quite right. Because conservative to me means like conservative American politics. I don't think that's where he was coming from either. I think his politics were more along the lines of imperial China.
He was originally from mainland China. And when he was very young, he was sick, and he tells that he had something probably like tuberculosis. I don't know if it was exactly diagnosed, but he had some respiratory problems, and he said he was spitting up blood. And someone took him to Master Yang Cheng Fu, and I believe he said like after 1 month of doing Tai Chi, he stopped spitting blood, and after a year, his condition was completely healed. So he felt that Tai Chi had really saved his life.
I have not seen this picture for a long time.
Wayne, do you remember what year is this one?
No, I don't remember.
Let me see the any note. Sometime Mom write a note in the back. Okay, this one. I don't remember where is this one.
Well, a lot of these old pictures taken when we were very young.
This is
So this is at the airport.
Yes.
And I don't know why the two of them so happy. Me and Wayne look very sad. Two of them very big smile.
Yeah, they're crying.
You know, like the Chinese community leaders, they actually had an apartment set up in Chinatown. Apartment rented, furnished for my father, for the family to stay. And my father chose not to. He said no. He didn't want his family to come to the United States and live in Chinatown. You know, so he decided to live at Riverside Drive.
As I understand it, when he first opened his place on Canal Street, it was like a Chinese club, and they were against his teaching it to Americans. But Chen Manching said, if I want to just teach Chinese, I could stay in China.
I started knocking on doors, and I walked down Canal Street, and there was said Tai Chi Association. I went upstairs, knocked on the door. A Chinese man greeted me. I asked if they taught Tai Chi and if this was where Professor Chen Manching was, and they said, no, go away. And then a little old man came up who was professor and scolded the man in Chinese, and then the man invited me to stay.
I didn't trust Tai Chi. I was brought up in China, and I've seen people do it, and I didn't think it was my cup of tea.
I had been doing karate since 1960, and around 1967 I was getting tired of the violence of it. And also I had been looking for something that had a philosophy. So I started looking at Kyudo and Kendo and flower arrangement, anything. If I wanted to find a master. And someone told me about that there was an old Chinese man down in Chinatown, so I went down there and I walked up a flight of stairs. And he was there with the white beard, the whole cliche, you know, and the robe and the little ribbon in front. And he started doing this sort of people shoving and pushing each other type thing. And a lot of the people that I knew from the martial arts, the hard martial arts, karate and kung fu, were there. And he would just bounce them up into the air. You know, I was sort of like, what are they? Why are they jumping away from this man? And I asked them later, and they said, "Oh yeah, we're not cooperating here. This guy is really amazing." So I signed up right away.
In 1962, I stopped dancing with a company, and it was a very painful experience. And as a result of that, I looked for different things that would give me peace. The thing that I immediately recognized is this person is special. This master has something, he's special. He has something very valuable, and I would like to learn it.
He had a presence, I'll give him that. And I was intimidated by him.
This little man with all these big guys around him was how I remember it, like cops. And you know, at that point in my life, I didn't like cops. And this little guy would make a little push, and these big guys would go flying all over the loft. I was very impressed with the professor.
I didn't think about what he was or who he was at that time. It was in the 60s, so I was either 10 or 11. I think I was the youngest student of Professor in New York City. Professor just took me into the next room and started doing the form, and I just did it.
The first day when I met Chen Manching, and I was there with Stanley, and then Tam happened to come in, and so I got introduced to Tam also. And Tam asked me, have you done any martial arts, any background? And I just puffed, 3rd degree black belt, Taekwondo. And Tam says, we'll help you to overcome that.
Because I was Japanese, I had to have a special meeting with Professor Chung, and I understood that somebody was asked to leave a few weeks before that because he was Japanese. I had to go into the office, and I needed to kowtow, no problem to me. I'm American, and I felt like, oh well, I'll just do anything. I want to do this, and I needed to promise that I'd never teach. And he changed his mind later.
So, well, when did I start turning eastward? You know, at the place where I had my injured knee. If it was not for the injury, I would not have studied with Professor Chen. And it was like new. I could do almost anything with my knees then. And so I was convinced. And then I stayed.
These were the 60s, and the young people in America, and especially New York and California, were looking for everything, anything that was new or different.
I was a flower child, and I went, it's so beautiful. Why does it have to be a martial art?
I think I was the only non-hippie in the 60s. I mean, I didn't do drugs, and I didn't like parties. I mean, I was, you know, not in with the times. Because it was the 60s, new people would come in, and they were all like, you know, the men were like with long hair. You know, Professor Cheng would look at them, he didn't understand what was going on. And the women, you know, were sort of all, I don't know, in the summertime half naked, according to the Chinese, you know. I mean, it was the 60s, right?
We attracted a lot of people who didn't want to go into Vietnam War, you know, just weirdos that came to us. We had a lot of really strange people that came to the Chinese club. You know, the Chinese didn't like it.
Yeah, there were college people there, and hippies, and blue collar, and blue blood, you know, all kinds of a mixture.
It should be noted there were two very different types of people. There were the martial artists, and we were the ones dressed in normal kind of clothing, and there were the hippies who had the long hair, which at the time was considered a little bit shocking.
A lot of us had long beards for the men. The women, a lot of them wore what were called granny dresses, sort of long dresses down here. And, you know, certainly I believe, anyway, that a lot of the students of that era, you know, perhaps smoked a little marijuana from time to time.
That was very strange. You know, you think hippies with long hair was wild in the 60s and 70s. A guy with a crew cut and these whiskers growing here and here and here was a stunning image.
I don't really know what it is anymore. You know, I used to be able to say it in a demonstration. I said, well, this is what Tai Chi is. Boom, 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 boom. You know, 2 minutes and all in a nutshell. Can't tell you.
Okay, what's Tai Chi? Oh, geez. Well, what it's become is, you know, an entirely all-encompassing, very profound life practice and spiritual practice, which has the great benefit of being in the body.
Tai Chi translated, I believe, as the great ultimate, which, from what I understand, is the way of the Taoist. Tai Chi Chuan, which is what we do, is the Chuan, I believe, means the closing of a fist. It means it's a martial art. So it's the application of those things toward a martial art. What Cheng did and what other people have done in other systems is to take that a next step, to keep going until it becomes something more than just a martial art. It becomes a spiritual discipline.
Some people choose to do the martial thing, some people choose to do it for exercise, and some people do it for therapy, and some for meditation. And they're all available, that's all part of it.
You know, here you were doing form all day. All we ever did was the form. Tai Chi, push hands, sword form, with all that precision of language. It took 9 months for me to learn the form.
The main idea about it in the beginning is relaxation. That's the priority. Because without relaxation, it's not Tai Chi.
You're rooting in your legs and you're letting go in the top part of your body. And the more you do it, the deeper you get and the softer the upper part of your body gets.
It's not like in a Shaolin kata, you get all these fancy positions. And it's fast, it's flashy. You just relax your body into your legs and go into the ground.
It is a way of having natural forces like gravity be your friend instead of something that you're fighting.
I do see a lot of movement in terms of physics. When you do a movement, you're feeling gravity as the hand moves. When you turn, there's momentum, which keeps the arms moving. After you stop, the arms will have a little bit of play. When you turn to one direction, there's a compression of a spring, which then has energy in it, which can be released. Actual physical energy, mechanical energy.
You start to develop a mind-body awareness and a mind-body connection. And then you start to realize that they're so interconnected that one affects the other.
Chang Cheng was doing a demonstration of the long form, which takes about a half an hour to do. And he was doing repulsed monkey, and he forgot whether it was the second or the third or the fourth time he was doing it. So he decided that it might be good to make a shorter form. And he asked Yang Sheng-Fu for permission to do that, and he gave him permission. And so he made a 37 movement form, which now a lot of people call the Cheng form.
He would be pretending to lean on me with his whole body weight and to show me how stiff I was that I wasn't moving.
Oh yeah, he used to come and correct and push this in and push my knee, you know. A lot of people tend to do very stiff. They're like this. It's common. So he came and pushed my knee, pushed my back.
The hip is very important. It has to be straight at all times.
At this time, he just touched my elbow, and I felt everything inside just drop right down, just release and drop down. You know, the perfect adjustment or timing or something, or his energy, but I felt like, whoa, that was powerful.
You have to have your posture in such a way and everything so aligned that things just fall back and fall into the correct place.
He always emphasized sinking, sung, you know, and he always emphasized correct posture.
Let's say I imitate a bad posture, right? This posture here, the sloped shoulder, this compression, I'm compressing my liver, I'm compressing my right lung, I'm stretching my left lung, right? It's having to do more work than this one. There's a squirrel listening to my dissertation. There's a good example of perfect posture. I wish we could turn the camera and shoot that guy right there. There he is. Right? Basically, this is a posture of Tai Chi. When you do Tai Chi and you come to this posture and you're rooted, what do you have? You have the posture of the squirrel.
Usually he would be there for 4 or 5 or 6 hours. So we have a beginner's form class, an advanced form class, push hands, beginning sword, advanced sword, fencing. So he covered a lot of things. Then in the back, be doing medicine on the corner. It was a very full ticket.
Jane and Baton's kids were always running around the place, and then sometimes there were dogs running around the place. And the television was having cowboy movies, and it seemed like it was just all happily going on together.
And I took every course. I went there practically every night, maybe 4 or 5 nights a week. And then when I married my ex-wife, she was very angry because I'm going there every night.
In those days, Tai Chi was not popular, so the people who were doing it were people who were already not normal people, not average people. They were people who were interested in something way, way beyond what most people were.
When she goes up, this part is very hard to go through.
We must have seemed very different to him, yet he seemed to accept us and we seemed to accept him.
The devotion that people felt was because there was this lack of cultishness, and because they felt that this was a genuine person. I mean, his genuine reality came through even though he spoke a different language.
It was very good humored in some way. It was kind of easygoing. I remember laughing. I remember push hands being funny and fun. You know,
There wasn't the formality. We didn't all put our hands together and bow. There was no formal thing, but there was the respect there. I think a lot of it had to do with the time that it happened. Like, he came from Taiwan, a group of new students, American students, who were eager to hear what he had to say, to do whatever he said to do. I think that allowed him to be a human being and act naturally and enjoy the interplay.
In China, this wasn't taught that way. Mostly in China, in the beginning, they only taught their family, and then later on, they only taught men and Chinese men, and then later on, it grew. And by the time Chiang Man-cheng came here, he taught everybody.
He said, if I teach these people like what I do in China, you have no student, nobody will continue.
He taught the Americans differently, and I got the feeling he taught them like he really wanted them to get it, that he was laying it all out there as much as he could.
And he would sit there and answer questions, and that was great because we could just ask anything we wanted to, and he always had some kind of an answer.
It's very elegant.
And he wouldn't say, don't do this and don't do that. He would say, if you do this, this will happen. If you do that, this will happen. And that's a very nice way of teaching. Not much negativity going on.
And in New York, we do the form. It was just do it, enjoy it, and do it gradually. Enjoy the form. You make a mistake, it's okay, but you can still do it correctly the next time.
we'd go to class and we'd do that much. We'd do that much for an hour. And I think, my goodness, that was what we did today. And that was a fine way to teach, yeah. But he didn't say, you know, you do this. You know, he would be there fanning himself or something. He was so elegant.
I had never seen a human being that relaxed. I had never seen a human being, I'm going to say that again, I'd never seen a human being that relaxed, ever.
By remembering his way of teaching, he just threw it out and who caught it, caught it.
But now the way he's taught all over the world isn't with the teacher as the master and sitting up on a high place and looking down at the students and they have to kowtow. It changed the way Tai Chi was taught, I believe.
I never saw the professor hurt anyone. Never saw him try to dominate anyone. Never tried to do any of these sort of trips, you know, and that was the simplicity that I was talking about.
The way he held a pen, the way he turned off the switch, anything he did, it wasn't precious, it was just natural, like a baby. You know, it was full without being pretentious in any way. It was unfabricated, it was just, and I love that unfabrication. I just love that, you know, it's just simple, and it takes a long time to get simple.
Push hands is a physical dialogue. You're trying to upset the other person's balance, their root, their alignment, their center, and the job is that the person who's trying to upset all those things in you, you have to not let it. If something comes at you, you get out of the way, you get the part that it's coming at out of the way, you leave the center still, and the part on the other side goes around and comes back to where it originated.
And I remember pushing him, and I pushed him. I thought I was going to push him, and all of a sudden there was this hole and I was falling into this empty space.
Other people, it's brute force, and they have your balance, and the time, but the timing is not always right, and they're using more force than they need to. It would just be like a wind blowing you. It was amazing.
And I felt like I was going to hit the ground forward, but instead my feet left the ground and I went flying backwards. And I had never had an experience like that of falling forward and being smashed backwards.
It felt like looking for something that wasn't there, and then suddenly your feet are popped off the ground, and it was like, what a surprise.
He would somehow feel the movement in your body. I don't know if it was from the breath, but he would know where you're going to move before you move there.
Being pushed by him was a pleasure. It felt like you were being picked up by a wave. Just the whole body was being picked up, and it was very nice, and you were just displaced. You landed a few feet away, or 5 or 6 or 7 feet away. And then if it was too hard and he thought you were going to hit the wall, he would grab the arm and pull you back like that. When you tried to push him, he was not there. He was gone somehow.
I couldn't make his uniform touch his skin. That's how light he was. He had a crease. He had a creased uniform. And my hands fell on the crease. And I couldn't make the crease touch the skin going back. I couldn't make the crease touch the skin going to the side. You know, he talked about listening in the Daily News article, and I'm saying, listening. I thought it was up here. I didn't realize that you listen through your hands.
He always seemed to be able to sense your state of balance and your state of tension in your body better than that person could. Always he yielded first and came back.
He was always trying to get us to relax. When he was pushing with us, he would say, no, that's strength.
Never use strength. Or when you're coming in.
It didn't feel like strength to us. And the wrong kind of strength. There was a kind of force, but he said, no, that's not it. And he would do it to us, and we could feel that it was coming at us in a different way.
No feeling of the contact of a hard hit, and then you would feel yourself hitting the wall, and it was playful. He didn't even teach from a technique point of view. He taught from feeling what is happening, and can you actually move your body in a way that it has no spot, that can't release and move. That is the skill.
Whenever he would find two people doing push hands, trying to win, trying to push the other person and not get pushed, trying, he would say, no. As soon as you do that, you're not relaxed anymore, you're not doing Tai Chi anymore.
He would always talk about invest in loss. Let them push you, see what you're doing wrong, where's your tension, drop it. Invest in loss, learning that way. Don't let your ego interfere with being rigid and not wanting to lose.
It looks like you're losing. You invest in letting go, in losing this particular match, this particular push, you know. Let it go. Lose. Because it's teaching you how to win. It's teaching you how to handle that energy and how to come back.
When there's force, you yield, and when there's an emptiness, you fill it up, and it's totally natural, and it's not somebody doing something, and it's very powerful as well. And I think that it's extremely important at a time like now, when there's so much force against force, and when it's what people learn, and they think there's no other way to maintain your position beside forcing. And there he was, living proof, you know.
Tai Chi handles violence differently than the other martial arts. It doesn't attack. It only responds, and it responds in a way that is no more violent than the thing that came in at it. In other words, it gives back the energy that comes to it.
At the time when we were learning Tai Chi, we saw a lot of sword films and martial art pictures. And we imagine ourselves in situations where we're being attacked and all of that. We were very naive, very naive.
If you can handle your buttons being pushed physically by another person with their hands or a sword, then you can handle it coming to you verbally from another person.
Well, that's why people coming in from martial art, you said, leave it outside. You know, leave all your belts and your gis and everything outside. Come in as you are regularly, and then you can start learning Tai Chi, otherwise forget about it.
Because everybody's always wondering, how is Tai Chi used as a martial art? What do you do if somebody attacks you? Do you start going like this? Well, not exactly. You move as quickly or as slowly as they do, give them the initiative, take it from them, and turn the energy against them.
Since he was very soft in his Tai Chi, there were quite a few very high-level martial artists in China, of his generation probably, who didn't think that he was good because he was so soft and that they could beat him.
He said that he had to be soft because all his classmates were big and strong, and the only way he could compete in any way was to be softer than they were.
He was very good. I don't think anybody could compete with him in Tai Chi Chuan or any style. We had karate teachers that came to visit. We had one Aikido person who challenged him, and the professor just totally let it go.
He seemed to enjoy fencing with us a lot, and he would chase us each individually around the room for about 5 minutes a piece, and let's say there were 10 of us. And we'd all get exhausted, and he would be fresh as a daisy in the beginning because he was totally relaxed and we were running away in fear. His sword would touch our sword, and what we do is sticking. We adhere to the other sword so that we can feel and sense the other person's intention and their energy. But we couldn't do it yet very well, and he would touch our sword and he had us. We were just his, because he would just follow it to our center, and in order to try to get away from it, we'd start to put pressure on his sword, and then boom, as soon as we put pressure on it, he would come around the pressure and cut us.
I could move my sword anywhere I want, back and forth, up and down, and his point, he would move the back of his sword, and his point would still be staring me in the face.
What I remember about fencing with Professor Chung was it was like having the finger of fate on your chest, and there was no place to go, nothing you could do about it, no way to escape it.
With Professor Chung, you don't know it's coming. It's always coming, and there's no way to get out of it.
We would start to try to get away and immediately start withdrawing, and he filled up the space. I don't have so much fun. The chi going into the ground and coming out in the form is like the ink going into the paper.
First, we'd make ink. We'd take a little water, put it with the ink, and we'd go around and around. Then when the ink was right, we'd take the brush.
We spent months, 3 months maybe, doing vertical lines on newsprint. Then we did another 3 months of horizontal lines.
You would have to sit on the edge of your chair with the feet, with the legs separated and upright position, relaxed, and the table here. And then, you know, the brush had to be held a certain way with all the 4 fingers going in 4 directions. You're supposed to be able to put a cup, balance a cup of tea on your wrist. And so you'd be moving, you know, from the whole body, moving the brush.
You had to just kind of center and be quiet, and the difference was that there was visible proof when your mind went someplace else or your body tensed up, you know, because the line would do all of that.
he would say about the calligraphy that you have to have a quality that's a bit fun, which is like simple-minded maybe, but you know, a certain quality of not sophistication in a way.
His first calligraphy was more flowing and slanted.
When you do something which is very fancy, it catches the eye, and by its nature, it doesn't stay with you.
And then it got heavier and heavier and straighter and clearer and clearer. That's Confucian. It's right timing and upright, you know, and integrity.
So I was visiting him in the studio. Went up when he was doing some work, and he took a painting brush and he was doing this on a piece of paper, and I thought he was cleaning his brush, so I was talking to him. And then he started putting stems on that, and then started putting the veins in one of them. It became a peonese flower, and I was shocked. And I stood back and I said, "I'm sorry, I didn't know you were painting." He said, "Well, that doesn't matter. It's already there before I started." He knew what it was all going to be, so he was just doing it when we talked. And I started to think that, you know, he did all of those things without anything in front of him. And I had to, you know, copy things. You know, I didn't know that you can actually do them from your head and they were all true, you know, real. And I started looking at my own training. I said, well, this is kindergarten stuff compared to his.
And I think Professor gave me the sense that you feel pastels like doing push, very soft. You can feel the grain. Like the sound of the ocean, every time it collapses and the wave collapses, that's like your push.
He would make a leaf, and then he'd say, the wind was blowing. And he'd say, this leaf was broken by the strong wind. And the leaf would be broken. Then he'd say, and this over here, there are two leaves came together, and behind that there was, and he was actually seeing it happen. He was creating the painting as he was going. He was in present time doing it. I was absolutely stunned by this.
Qi, I think it's the energy that surrounds us. It's a living energy. It's the internal energy, the outer energy from the cosmos. The energy coming from the ground. Qi is all around us.
It's so many things. It's like saying, what's life? You know, I mean, first of all, it is life, you know.
Everybody has Qi. Qi is the life force. It's our breath, and it's the energy that runs through us.
A lot of things in Tai Chi, especially Qi, goes way beyond anything that science can, at this point, explain. You can feel it. You can actually feel it, but the body has to be so relaxed that the muscular tension isn't interfering. And that's really what we're doing when we do Tai Chi.
And you feel it. You feel improved circulation, you feel a tingling, which is not numbness that comes to the fingers.
We're trying to get rid of all the blocks to Qi in our body, the clogs in the veins, the nervous system short circuits. We try to get rid of all those so our Qi runs at 100%. And when it does, then we heal, then we're healthy.
He said there's a lot of Qi in the heaven and earth, but it's very hard to borrow.
It feels like something in you billows up, some energy in you billows and propels you.
So you say qi is like electricity, okay. Qi is like an energy, fine, I will accept that too. But is it that? I don't know. Could be. But why do you want to know? You know, does it help your Tai Chi?
What was the most important thing that he thought he did? What was his most important contribution? He said, Tai Chi, and they were sort of shocked. They said, you're a doctor, you're a painter. He said, yes, well, doctors cure diseases. He said, but Tai Chi keeps people from getting sick, keeps people healthy, and it keeps people able to get along with other people in a better way without negative feelings.
He would write out a prescription for you in Chinese. You would go to the Chinese apothecary down in Chinatown. They would fill it out, and I'd stand there and watch them, and there would be a little bits of this kind of bark, little bits of beetle. There would be beetles or something in there, little, maybe some sort of little worms. No, they were dead, of course.
Well, first he said, well, you know, he took my pulse and he said, there's too much wind in your body. Now, what does that mean? You know, I'd never heard of Ayurveda. I'd never heard of Chinese medicine. I had no experience. I was so young at that point. And my father was a doctor, so I had a very specific idea of what medicine was. He gave me these herbs that were horrendous tasting, like with bugs in them, and who knows what was in them. It tasted horrible. And he healed me.
In traditional Chinese medicine, just by looking at the tongue, they can see dozens of things about you. By looking at the fingernails, by looking at the skin, they can just look at these things without any equipment, no x-rays, no MRIs.
He'd laugh at me and he'd give me something, and I got home and I took it and I fell asleep, and like I didn't move for, you know, 24 hours, and I never again told him I couldn't sleep. You know, I had to be really careful with what I said to him.
As I said, I had polio. My legs, even now after 20 years of Tai Chi, are very, very weak. I mean, very weak. Somehow with a sword I can do more. I think because you don't need to root as much as you do in push hands or in the form. And yet I feel, look, I have been given this gift, something that I physically can do.
One great benefit, I think, is that because whatever you do in a more relaxed kind of a way. You can just do it more fully and for longer.
Tai Chi is the blueprint for the design of the human being, how the bones were supposed to fit, how they're supposed to be aligned. And when they're aligned perfectly, you can channel gravity through your body. Your organs migrate to their correct places and their natural relationships to each other.
Because the five organs, we're standing up, and the five organs are piled on top of each other. And that's no good.
By the time he got to us in New York, I think that he was more interested in the meditative aspect and the healing, basically the healing and the not getting sick. Keep away from doing things that are going to make you sick. And if you do Tai Chi, you're much more likely to live a healthy life and live longer and be healthier. And he was into that, and he wasn't interested in the fighting much anymore. And that's why some people said, oh, he doesn't teach the real stuff anymore. To them, the real stuff was the martial stuff. But the real stuff is the stuff that makes you be healthier and live longer and be vital.
At the very beginning, when I was at the school, there were all these Chinese people who sort of sat around drinking tea and watching television. And I had no idea what connection they had with the school. And they were very seldom involved in any of the classes.
They were a group of Chinese businessmen that originally brought Cheng Man-ching to New York because they wanted to learn. You know, they felt it was part of their culture. And they wanted Cheng Man-ching for themselves.
The Chinese in Chinatown, there's so much, ingrown about themselves. Anybody outside of Chinatown, even if they were Chinese, they're not considered Chinese. They felt that Professor Chen was passing his secrets to the Westerners. They say, you mean is that man who walks around Chinatown that acts as if he was Jesus Christ?
I think that's what all those Chinese were feeling. Like this is a Chinese secret. So the Americans shouldn't teach to the Americans.
We were asked to leave during one of the professor's trips to Taiwan. It was during one of those times that I guess the senior students, whoever was in charge of the school when the professor left, were told by it was a Chinese men's organization on the second floor on Canal Street. We're told that we were no longer welcome and had to move.
When he took white people, they weren't that happy. When they took black people, the association wasn't that happy. But when they took Kara Yamasaki, because she was Japanese, and they remembered the rape of Nanking, they didn't like that. And when Professor went back to Taiwan, they locked us out.
Because there was a Japanese person there? Because of me? I thought I was relatively insignificant all this time. No, I don't think that's true. No, I really don't. It was that all the Americans and all the hippies, you know, and all the hair and I think that was offensive to the Chinese community because we were a bunch of hippies.
They locked us out. They didn't do it when he was here, for some reason.
But in the end, when they shut the door and closed it, it's their privilege, you know. But we were outraged.
And then Ed Young called, and Professor said, you set up a place and I'll come back to you.
And so for about a year, we had to look around to try to get a new studio. And by the time he came back, we had gotten a new studio on Bowery.
He was able to break out of this traditional Chinese keeping the secrets to yourself.
That's me.
中国的在皇帝期啊，说这个人见到人就要做长夜。这个中国为什么那么长呢？叫长夜，不是这个是短的，这个长夜是这样的长夜，所以要画到这样。
From Yellow Emperor on, when he think the people when on meeting up to bow very low, not just like this.
When you translate something in the Tai Chi, there's a language barrier. Now I have to be a master like Professor Chen, plus a master in Chinese and a master of English. And then still, the English word and the Chinese word do not mesh. So how perfect can you be?
Professor Cheng was able to integrate a Confucian ethic with a Taoist metaphysics.
Confucius was more about man's relationship to man and man's relationship in family and society and military and political, about how to get along, how to function best in these situations. Lao Tzu was about man and nature, the nature of man, the nature of nature, and how to live ethically and spiritually in a sense.
When you really realize what's going on, you really have to examine your own activities, what you do, because what you do is, first of all, the one thing that you can control, and you can alter by his principles to be a better human being. You can't control the universe.
There's three things. It was heaven, earth, and man. That's what I took from those lectures. To be upright towards heaven, be humble to myself and to my fellow co-workers and my friends, and to relate to the earth.
Look at what you did every day and evaluate it and see if you did too little, too much, too early, or too late. And that was his really revolutionary doctrine of the mean. And it's not the doctrine of the average. It's do not too much, not too little, do it not too early, not too late.
So by doing Tai Chi, we are really learning to, in the small microcosm of the world, this minute part of the physical world, but one which we have total connection with and control over, we're causing it to be harmonious, and therefore we are finding, at least learning, what harmony is.
I've always thought of Tai Chi as, you know, Taoism in the body.
When you are living in harmony with Shenling, or the Tao, you're in harmony with universal movement. When your ego turns against it, or willfully opposes the direction of the Tao, you better have a lot of strength to change the direction of the universe.
The way is the natural way. One way of saying it is you ride the horse in the direction it's going. You don't contest things. You don't try to go through things. You find the shape and you move with the shape. You move with the wind in the direction of the wind. And you grow upwards with the direction of the trees. And you don't try to fight nature and beat nature. You try to be the part of nature that you are.
What is asked of us to do in the body is the same thing that's asked of us to do in spiritual practice, which is empty presence, without grasping and without pushing away.
You watch a class, you go and watch a class. Those people are not aware of that, they're in meditation. You're into your body, but you're not knowing that you're meditating because you're focusing on an aspect of yourself.
You ultimately drop ego and drop narcissism, and you become more in tune with everything around you. And ultimately, that's what all spiritual disciplines are. They take you to the at-one-ment of everything.
It's instinctual to just seek the center and not be pushed over and push the other person over. And people that I consider, I don't know the word enlightened, but lighter, don't do that. They don't have this agenda. Don't take things personally. Don't hold things out.
You're dealing with fear, and probably every spiritual teacher says that fear is what prevents us all from being whole.
The whole idea of relaxing is ultimately emptying, letting go of the mechanical thinking that we are forced to do most of the time. We let go of the thinking that involves language, and we're communing directly with nature.
As you keep your mind empty, you don't have any original thoughts originating here, you feel the air. You feel the straightness of your spine. You feel your knees, your elbows, your wrists, your ankles, your legs. And so you get your mind in the habit of being empty because you always have it fully listening.
I remember Cheng Man-ching talked a lot about awareness, saying that there were two kinds of awareness. One is the internal kind, where you bring all your senses inside of you. He said that's more of yoga. He said the Tai Chi type of awareness is outward awareness, becoming aware of everything.
That is what he really embodied for me, is like that naturalness, the simplicity, a naturalness which isn't a sort of 60s interpretation of naturalness, let everything hang out. No, it's hard work. It's like discipline to get back to the original, what it should be.
You're more at peace. You feel more connected to the universe, more connected to whatever you want to call it, God, the universe, consciousness. But your awareness begins to open up.
So this is like a real treasure to be able to be a part of the universe.
not an idea, not a concept. This has to do with your body as an instrument, the way you use your mind, the way you use your feeling, your emotions. The way you use all of these things is about being, and to have this practice that includes that that's in nature is really a unique thing that the Chinese have invented.
He would say, you know, I'm not Buddha. He didn't pretend to be a spiritual teacher. He had an ego. He wasn't like a fully enlightened being. I think that I've been around people that were really close to, if they weren't, they were really close to, you know, really no ego. And he didn't feel like that. He felt like a human being.
He was in a very big hurry to get back to Taiwan, to finish this book. And he and my mother always traveled together. And this I think that was the only time my mother had something to do. So my mother asked him, "What is your big hurry?" He said, No. He said, you stay here, take care of this and that, but let me go back to Taiwan.
He came to our house, in our flat in New York, and he started writing out all these prescriptions for me for when I had a baby, or if I had a baby, and this and that, I should take this and I should take that. And I was looking and said, Professor Cheng, why are you doing, you know, it's like, aren't you coming back, you know? And he sort of, you know, laughed it off, and all of that made me feel very scared. I started crying, and I, you know, felt that he was not going to come back.
From what we understand, he just went to sleep, and that was it.
He died before anybody was ready to see him go, because people wanted to learn more. So I think everybody was devastated.
You know, they were the senior students, but Cheng was the guy who really knew, and of course, losing him, you lost that.
The last time he went to Taiwan before he died, he told us very clearly, he said, you know, you people, when I go, you people are going to have to run this thing. And he was trying to you know, imbue us with some enthusiasm about keeping the school going the way he was doing it. After he died, people split apart, and then people had a choice to who to go to study with. They wanted to study more of the martial way, they'd go with Stanley or Lou, and if they wanted to study more of the internal stuff, they would go to Maggie or Ed. It worked out.
It was just like a human farther out in their canoe than you were, and feeling that it was possible to get there, and he wanted you to get there, and he was going to tell you everything he possibly could to help you get there.
Much of what he taught wasn't verbal, and it didn't show up till when you needed it later, years and years and years later. I think that he was one of the most amazing people, if not the most amazing person I've ever met.
I was talking to Ed Young, and what I said was, Ed, I just regret that I was so young and stupid that I didn't really learn anything, you know, because he gave us a lot of attention. And he said, Carol, you'd say the same thing now. and then he said, and you know how stupid I was? I thought I was getting it. So
I figure I was this tough guy who thought he was a really good fighter and thought he knew it all. And Professor very gently showed me that I didn't know anything, and very gently and kindly started to fill the vessel as soon as I realized what he was telling me and that my vessel was empty.
And when I do the 4 corners and I can go to the 4 points on the earth, it's fabulous what he gave me. And he gave hundreds of us.
I was really screwed up before. I still am, but at least I know which way to go.
And I still miss him a lot. He taught me how to be grown up in a family of students.
All my life in China, I had fashioned myself to learn Western things. But it's only after I've been in the West I start to learn about Eastern things.
Before meeting the professor and before doing Tai Chi, I was less accepting of people and the world. I was less accepting of everything. I was a very strong, judgmental type of a person. These principles of softness, of letting go, of relaxing, of being in harmony with nature. Letting my chi come down. Instead of my chi up here, my chi down into the Tantien, relaxed. All of a sudden it started affecting my way of thinking and my relationships. I became a different person. I think I became a better person.
Chiang Man-ching wanted Tai Chi to travel around the world. There are hundreds of schools of Tai Chi that are doing his style and that are in his lineage that look to him as their master and read what he wrote and look at the videos that were made of him. You know. It came true. What he wanted has come true.
Tai Chi can be applied to anything you do, whether it's physical skills, science, art, music, human relationships. It's there for everyone, and you can make of it what you will. You cannot abuse it.
I have a student who's 92, a student who's 90, a bunch of 80-year-olds, and also college kids that are like inner city street kids that they don't know what they're getting into.
All I can say is that for those of you who see this video, you're the person who has to assess. You know, like, you're gonna have to make your choices. None of us are telling the whole story because we don't understand the whole story, and we're working from our different memories, trying to recreate a sense of what it was like for you.
And if it has no truth in it, it won't last. Whether it's Professor Chen or not, it doesn't matter. If it has that, it'll stay up forever. There will be other people picking it up and say it the right way. It's there, it's in the air. If you got the antenna, if you got the practice, you'll pick it up. We don't know that we are just sort of like a log. It cannot be sort of fired up all by itself. At least two to build a fire. And when you're in the class, you get a whole lot of logs. And everybody is meaning to learn. And that is the heart. And there's fire there. And Professor Chen is a good log. He just put himself in there, all those little wet things get dry and start burning. You feel good because we are made to burn.